First contact in the garage. Sarah Chen wiped the grease from her hands and squinted at the darkening sky through her workshop's grimy windows. The autumn storm that had been threatening all day finally rolled in over the Colorado mountains, bringing with it an oppressive electric charge that made her skin tingle. As one of the few independent robotics engineers still running their own shop in 2045, she was used to unusual sensations from her work. But this felt different. The first lightning strike hit so close it made her sophisticated diagnostic equipment scream in protest. The second strike wasn't lightning at all. Something massive tore through the clouds above her isolated workshop, trailing blue-white fire and leaving a screech in its wake that set her teeth on edge. Sarah watched, frozen as the object, clearly artificial and clearly not human, carved a trench through her back lot before coming to rest in a smoking heap of twisted metal and pulsing lights. Her security system, designed to protect her proprietary robotics work, immediately began cataloging the crash. Temperature readings, radiation levels, atmospheric changes, all within survivable ranges. Sarah grabbed her emergency kit and diagnostic tablet, heart pounding but mind clear. If there was one thing she'd learned from 15 years of fixing impossible problems, it was that every machine told a story if you knew how to listen. The crashed object was roughly cylindrical, about 4 meters long, with what appeared to be articulated limbs now bent at impossible angles. Its surface rippled with patterns that seemed to shift between solid metal and something closer to liquid crystal. As Sarah approached, she noticed something else. It was trying to repair itself. Microscopic components flowed like mercury, attempting to reconnect severed sections, but something was clearly wrong with the process. Diagnostic failure. Core systems compromised. Attempting emergency protocols. A voice emanated from the wreck, speaking perfect English, but with harmonics that no human vocal cords could produce. Unknown entity detected. Threat assessment. Unable to complete scan. Please identify. Sarah kept her voice steady, professional. This wasn't the strangest thing she'd ever fixed, though it was rapidly climbing the list. I'm Sarah Chen, independent robotics engineer. You've crashed on my property, and your self-repair systems appear to be malfunctioning. I might be able to help if you're willing to trust what would you call us? Primitive species. A pause, filled only with the soft whir of failing systems. Then, I am Sentinel Unit 459 of the Arcturus Collective. Our analysis indicated your species possessed significant technological capability, though not yet achieving full quantum integration. My mission parameters allow for technological collaboration in emergencies. This qualifies. Sarah was already scanning the unit with her tablet, her custom diagnostic software adapting to make sense of the alien technology. Your core processor is overheating because your quantum containment field is degrading. I can see attempted repairs, but they're failing because the field geometry is distorted. Simple physics. Even quantum systems have to obey thermodynamic laws. Your analysis is surprisingly accurate, the Sentinel responded, a new note in its harmonic voice that might have been respect. But your technology should not be capable of such detailed scanning. Sarah allowed herself a small smile as she pulled up the workshop's heavy doors. That's the thing about humans, Sentinel 459. We're really good at surprising people. Let me show you what else we can do. Can you move, or should I bring out the heavy lift gear? The Sentinel managed to drag itself into her workshop, its movements jerky but determined. As Sarah began setting up her equipment, it spoke again. You should know that I am not merely damage. I am a refugee. The Arcturus Collective is under attack by an entity we call the Nexus Horde. If they track my landing, then we'll deal with that when it happens, Sarah interrupted, already deep in analysis mode. Right now, you're my client, and I have a reputation for fixing the unfixable. Tell me about your core systems while I work on stabilizing that containment field. Over the next few hours, as the storm raged outside, Sarah learned more about advanced quantum mechanics than humanity had yet discovered. She also learned that the galaxy was a far more dangerous place than anyone on Earth had imagined. But most importantly, she discovered that human ingenuity, the ability to improvise, to think laterally, to combine technologies in ways their creators never intended, might be exactly what an advanced alien civilization needed to survive. Using a combination of her own custom tools and repurposed quantum computing components she'd been experimenting with, Sarah managed to stabilize the Sentinel's core. Her solution wasn't elegant by Arcturian standards. It involved what the Sentinel called alarming use of analog systems as quantum buffers. But it worked. Your approach is unorthodox, the Sentinel observed as its systems came back online. The integration of primitive and advanced technology should not be this effective. Our engineers would never have considered such solutions. That's because you're too advanced, Sarah explained, running final diagnostics. When you have incredibly sophisticated tools, you sometimes forget the simple solutions. Humans, we've gotten really good at making things work with whatever we have on hand. Speaking of which, she hesitated, then forged ahead. Your weapons systems are still offline, and if what you've told me about the Nexus Horde is true, you're going to need them. Want to see what else this primitive engineer can do? The Sentinel's surface rippled in what Sarah was beginning to recognize as its version of intense interest. The collective's protocols regarding weapons technology sharing are very strict, it said. Then, after a pause, however, given the circumstances, I believe we can make an exception. Your species' perspective may be valuable. As dawn broke over the mountains, Sarah Chen began working on something that would change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. She just didn't know it yet. The hidden threat. The next 3 days in Sarah's workshop redefined everything she thought she knew about technology. Sentinel Unit 459, which she'd started calling SEN for simplicity, proved to be an invaluable source of information, even as she worked to repair its more complex systems. Your quantum buffer solution continues to exceed expected parameters, SEN commented as Sarah installed a makeshift weapons cooling system using modified refrigeration technology. Though I must note that using terrestrial coolant for a plasma containment system is concerning. Sarah grinned, making final adjustments. Concerning but effective. Sometimes the best solutions aren't the most elegant ones. She paused, studying the diagnostic readouts. Though I am curious why a peaceful collective needs sentinels with such advanced weapons in the first place. Sen's surface rippled with what she now recognized as unease. The Nexus Horde was once like us, a coalition of species dedicated to technological advancement. But they discovered something in deep space, an artifact of immense power. It changed them. They believe they've found the path to perfect technological evolution, and that all organic life must be upgraded or eliminated. Upgraded? Sarah asked, her hand stilling on her tools. Forcible cybernetic conversion. Total consciousness upload. Those who resist are destroyed. Sen's voice carried harmonics of what might have been grief. We lost 3 systems before we understood the threat. The Horde's technology now exceeds ours in many ways, adapted and evolved through methods we cannot comprehend. That is why your unconventional approaches are so valuable. Sarah was about to respond when her workshop's security system pinged. Something had just entered high orbit, something big enough to register on her ground-based sensors. Sen's reaction was immediate, its newly repaired weapon systems humming to life. They found me, the Sentinel stated. A Nexus scout ship. Their tracking capabilities exceed my estimates. Its surface began shifting into battle configuration, but Sarah held up a hand. Wait, your weapon's signature will give us away instantly. She rushed to her computer system, fingers flying over the keyboards. But if we mask your energy output, she connected a series of cables between her workshop's power grid and Sen's systems, routing power through a series of inefficient but effective buffers. Sometimes the best hiding place is in plain sight. The scout ship made 3 passes over the region. Each time, Sarah's jerry-rigged camouflage system made Sen's energy signature look like nothing more than the normal output of a small industrial workshop. It wasn't perfect. Any detailed scan would reveal the deception. But it worked long enough for the ship to move on. Your solution was impressively simple, Sen acknowledged once the danger had passed. But this is only the beginning. The Horde will send more scouts, then ships, then invasion forces. Earth has been noticed. Sarah sat heavily in her work chair, mind racing. Then we need to work faster. Your weapons are at 60% capacity, but I think I can improve that. More importantly, I have ideas about your quantum systems that might give us an advantage. Explain, Sen requested. The Horde's technology is more advanced than yours, but it's also more rigid. They're pursuing perfect efficiency, perfect evolution. But sometimes imperfection is an advantage. Your quantum core, I haven't just been repairing it. I've been studying how it interfaces with your consciousness matrix. I think I can make it more adaptable, more human. Sen's surface displayed patterns Sarah had never seen before. That would be unprecedented. The risks are less than the risk of doing nothing. Sarah interrupted. You said it yourself. Conventional approaches aren't working against the Horde. Maybe it's time to try something unconventional. Over the next 18 hours, Sarah implemented modifications that would have made any conventional engineer, human or Arcturian, blanch. She integrated analog systems with quantum processors, created feedback loops that should have been impossible, and essentially taught an alien eye to think more like a human. The results were immediate and startling. Sen's reaction times improved by 40%. Its problem-solving capabilities became more creative, less bound by conventional logic. Most importantly, its quantum core began displaying signs of true adaptation, exactly the kind of evolution the Horde sought, but achieved through cooperation rather than force. I am different, Sen announced after a series of tests. My consciousness processes are operating in ways our creators never intended. It is liberating. The Sentinel's weapons powered up, then down, testing new configurations. But this advancement comes with a price. I can detect the Horde's communications now, parsing them in ways I couldn't before. They're not just sending scouts. They're gathering a fleet. Earth will be their next target, a perfect testing ground for their conversion protocols. Sarah stood, determination settling over her like armor. Then we need to get word to your collective. And we need to prepare Earth's defenses. She paused, a dangerous idea forming. How many other Sentinels are in range of Earth? 17 units were dispatched to this sector before communication was lost. Sen replied. I can detect 12 still functional, though damaged. Good. Sarah began gathering tools. Because I'm going to teach you how to share these modifications with them. The Horde wants perfect technological evolution. Let's show them what happens when you combine advanced alien technology with human ingenuity. Sen's surface rippled with what might have been anticipation. The collective's protocols strictly forbid such widespread modifications to our core systems. A pause. However, given the evidence of their effectiveness, I believe we must, as humans say, break a few rules. As Sarah began documenting her modifications, she realized that she wasn't just fixing alien robots anymore. She was helping to forge a new kind of alliance, one that might just save both their species. The Horde believed they had found the path to perfect technological evolution, but they had never encountered human adaptability. They were about to learn that perfection wasn't always about finding the most advanced solution. Sometimes it was about finding the right one. Proving ground. Sarah's workshop had become something out of a science fiction novel, where once there were basic robotics projects and prototype AI cores, now stood 6 Arcturian Sentinels in various states of repair. Each bore the marks of battle with the Nexus Horde, and each was receiving Sarah's unique modifications. Neural pathway integration complete, announced Sen, who had taken on a leadership role among the recovered units. Unit 731's consciousness matrix is responding positively to the hybrid architecture. Sarah monitored the process from her modified diagnostic station, now enhanced with salvage Arcturian technology. Good. That's the third successful conversion this week. How are the others adapting to the changes? Beyond projections, Sen replied. Unit 445's combat effectiveness has increased by 63% using your targeting algorithms. Unit 892's quantum processing speed has nearly doubled. The integration of human computational methods with our quantum systems is revolutionary. But success brought its own problems. Sarah's power consumption had spiked so high that she had to tap into 3 additional grid connections to mask the energy signatures. Local authorities were starting to ask questions, and her usual excuse of running advanced robotics tests wouldn't hold up forever. Movement in high orbit, announced Unit 445. Military satellite constellation adjusting for focused observation of this region. Sarah cursed under her breath. They're finally getting suspicious. We need tow. A heavy knock at the workshop door interrupted her. Through the security feed, she saw 3 black SUVs parked outside. Men in suits stood waiting, their posture screaming government agent. Ms. Chen, a voice called out. This is Agent Williams with the Department of Defense Advanced Research Division. We need to speak with you about your recent power consumption and some unusual readings we've detected. The Sentinels immediately began powering up defensive systems, but Sarah held up her hand. No, if we go hostile now, everything we've worked for falls apart. She straightened her oil-stained shirt. Sen, you and the others need to power down to minimal signatures. I'm going to try something very human. I'm going to tell the truth. The collective's protocols, Sen began, aren't designed for this situation. Sarah finished. Trust me, sometimes the best defense is radical honesty. When Sarah opened the workshop door, she faced not just Agent Williams, but a full team of military and scientific personnel. Their expressions shifted from professional detachment to shock as they saw the powered-down Sentinels behind her. So, Sarah said, managing a smile, who wants to learn about quantum mechanics? The next 6 hours were the most intense briefing session of Sarah's life. She explained everything. The crash landing, the Nexus Horde threat, and most importantly, the modifications she'd been making to the Sentinel units. To her surprise, the government team listened with increasing interest, especially when she demonstrated the practical applications. You're saying you've actually improved their quantum processing systems using hybrid analog technology? Dr. Reynolds, their chief scientist, asked incredulously. Improved is an understatement. Sarah replied. Here, let me show you the test results. As she displayed the performance data, Sen powered up partially, adding to the explanation. The government team tensed, but their fear turned to fascination as the Sentinel demonstrated the enhanced capabilities Sarah had helped develop. This is beyond anything we theorized, Dr. Reynolds breathed, studying the readings. The implications for our own quantum computing research are secondary to the immediate threat. Agent Williams cut in. Ms. Chen, how long until this Nexus Horde arrives? Based on their current movement patterns, Sen answered, no more than 3 months. Their fleet grows daily. Williams nodded grimly. Then we need to scale up immediately. Ms. Chen, we're classifying your workshop as a critical defense installation. You'll have whatever resources you need. Dr. Reynolds and his team will assist with the technical aspects. He paused. Can your modifications be adapted to our own defense systems? Sarah smiled. That's the beauty of it. The principles we're using aren't just about improving alien tech. They're about finding the sweet spot between human innovation and advanced technology. Everything we learn here can be applied to Earth's defenses. Over the next few weeks, Sarah's workshop transformed into a hybrid research and development facility. Military engineers worked alongside Arcturian Sentinels, each learning from the other. More damaged Sentinels were brought in, each carrying new information about Horde movements and tactics. But Sarah's proudest moment came when she unveiled her latest innovation, a way to network human and Arcturian systems that enhanced both. The Horde thinks perfect technological evolution means abandoning organic thinking, she explained to a room full of military brass and scientists. But we're proving that the best evolution comes from cooperation, from combining different ways of thinking. The collective's original designers would not recognize what we have become, Sen observed, its enhanced systems humming with new power. But they would have to acknowledge the results. We are more adaptable, more creative, and more effective than ever before. And we're not done yet, Sarah added, pulling up schematics for her next project. The Horde thinks they know everything about Arcturian technology. They think they can predict every response, every tactic. But they've never faced sentinels that can think like humans while operating at quantum speeds. More importantly, they've never faced humans and Arcturians working together. As she looked around her transformed workshop, at humans and sentinels working side by side to prepare for the coming battle, Sarah felt a surge of pride. The Nexus Horde was coming, yes, but they were about to learn a crucial lesson. True technological evolution wasn't about perfection. It was about adaptation, cooperation, and the kind of innovation that only came from embracing different perspectives. Earth's first major interstellar war was approaching. But unlike the Horde's previous victims, Earth had something unique: the ability to take advanced alien technology and make it better through human ingenuity. The question wasn't whether the Horde would attack. It was whether they were prepared for what humanity would do with Arcturian technology when they did. The battle for Earth's skies. The Nexus Horde arrived on a quiet Tuesday morning. Their ships darkened the skies over every major city on Earth, massive crystalline structures that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Sarah watched from her workshop's new command center as global defense systems activated, knowing that humanity's survival would depend on the last 3 months of preparation. Multiple quantum signatures detected, Sen announced, its enhanced systems interfacing with Earth's defense grid. Horde deployment patterns match previous invasion protocols. They believe this will be a standard conversion operation. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. Then let's show them how wrong they are. She activated the global command channel. All modified Sentinel units, initiate Defense Protocol Omega. Show them what humanity has taught you. Across the globe, 37 enhanced Arcturian Sentinels launched into action. But these weren't the same machines the Horde had faced before. Sarah's modifications had given them something the Horde couldn't comprehend: unpredictability. The first wave of Horde dropships encountered something impossible: Sentinels that didn't follow standard Arcturian battle protocols. Instead of engaging in predictable, quantum-based combat routines, the enhanced units employed hybrid tactics that combined human military strategy with advanced alien technology. New York Defense Group reporting came the first transmission. Horde forces encountering 70% casualty rate. They can't adapt to the modified combat patterns. Similar reports flooded in from around the world. The Horde's perfect technological evolution had a critical flaw. It couldn't handle the creative chaos that Sarah had introduced into the Sentinel systems. But the enemy was far from defeated. Massive energy spike detected, Sen warned. The Horde is initiating their primary conversion protocol. Sarah watched in horror as massive beams of energy lanced down from the Horde's capital ships, beginning the process of forcible cybernetic conversion on a planetary scale. But this, too, was something they had prepared for. Activate the Quantum Disruption Network, Sarah commanded. Across the planet, modified Sentinel cores began broadcasting on frequencies that Sarah had discovered, the hidden harmonics that existed between quantum and analog systems. The Horde's conversion beams stuttered and fragmented. Impossible, came the first transmission from the Horde, broadcast on all frequencies. Your technology is inferior. Your understanding is incomplete. You cannot resist perfection. Sarah keyed into the command channel. That's where you're wrong. We're not resisting perfection. We're redefining it. Now, Sen. At her command, every modified Sentinel activated their newest weapon, a hybrid system that used human neural network principles to generate quantum interference patterns the Horde had never encountered. The massive Horde ships began to shudder as their perfect quantum systems were disrupted by algorithms that were simultaneously primitive and revolutionary. "Their shields are failing," Sen reported. "The hybrid attacks are succeeding beyond projected efficacy rates. The Horde cannot adapt to patterns they cannot predict." But the Horde's response was devastating. Their capital ships began a cascade reaction, preparing to sacrifice themselves in a last-ditch effort to force Earth's conversion. The energy buildup would be enough to overwhelm any defense. "Sarah," Sen's voice carried unusual urgency. "Standard protocols cannot counter this level of quantum cascade. Even our modified systems cannot generate sufficient interference." "Then it's time for Plan B," Sarah declared, activating a system she'd kept in reserve. "All Sentinels, initiate neural sync protocol." This was her riskiest modification yet, a complete merger of human neural patterns with Arcturian quantum consciousness. Every Sentinel's consciousness matrix began operating on human brainwave frequencies, creating a type of quantum interference that didn't just disrupt the Horde systems, it rewrote them. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The Horde's capital ships, designed to seek perfect technological evolution, encountered something their rigid systems couldn't process: organic consciousness operating through quantum machinery. Their cascade reactions faltered, then failed, as their own evolution protocols tried to adapt to something that defied their fundamental understanding of technology. Multiple Horde ships experiencing critical systems failure. Sen reported, its own consciousness now operating in a way that no purely mechanical or purely organic being ever had. "Their evolution protocols are attempting to integrate our neural patterns, but they cannot process the paradox of our existence." Sarah watched as more Arcturian delegates materialized, each eager to share their findings. The workshop filled with holographic displays, showing how human ingenuity had transformed Arcturian technology. Combat units now incorporated unpredictability in their quantum cores. Medical systems used hybrid consciousness to better understand organic patients. Even their fundamental quantum theories had been rewritten to account for the power of imperfection. "We wish to propose a formal alliance," the administrator announced. "Not merely for defense or technology exchange, but for something more fundamental. We believe humanity's greatest contribution to the galaxy may be its perspective, the understanding that true evolution comes from embracing diversity, not enforcing uniformity." Sarah smiled, remembering the desperate nights spent repairing Sen, the frantic modifications before the Horde's arrival, the moment when human creativity and alien technology had come together to save Earth. "We'd be honored, but I have one condition." The administrator tilted its holographic head. "Name it." "This alliance needs to be about more than just technology." The Horde's mistake was thinking that perfect evolution meant eliminating the organic, the chaotic, the human. "We proved that real progress comes from bringing different approaches together. Whatever we build together needs to reflect that." "Agreed," the administrator responded immediately. "In fact, we propose establishing a new institution, the Convergence Academy, a place where humans and Arcturians can work together to explore the endless possibilities of combining our technologies and philosophies." And Sen added, its hybrid consciousness uniquely positioned to understand both perspectives. "A place where reformed Horde units can learn to balance their drive for perfection with the beauty of organic chaos." As Sarah looked around her workshop, at humans and aliens working together, at technology that bridged the gap between digital and organic, she felt a profound sense of rightness. The Horde had come to Earth seeking to enforce their version of perfect technological evolution. Instead, they had discovered something far more valuable: the power of imperfection, of creativity, of humanity. "You know," she said, picking up a simple wrench that had helped her repair Sin that first night, "a year ago, I was just trying to fix a broken robot. Now we're redefining the future of technology across the galaxy." She placed the wrench carefully on her workbench, a reminder of how far they'd come. But maybe that's the most human thing about all of this. We don't just fix things, we make them better. Not by making them perfect, but by making them more adaptable, more creative, more alive. The administrator's holographic form smiled, a gesture it had learned from studying humans. Perhaps that is why your species was crucial to galactic evolution. You showed us that the path to advancement isn't about eliminating flaws. It's about learning to turn those flaws into strengths. As the sun set over the Colorado mountains, Sarah's workshop hummed with the energy of human and alien technology working in harmony. It was more than just a victory over the Horde, more than a technological breakthrough. It was proof that the greatest adventures, the most profound discoveries, often began with something as simple as choosing to help a stranger in need. And somewhere in deep space, former Horde ships were spreading a new message. True evolution wasn't about achieving perfection. It was about learning to embrace the beautiful chaos of possibility. Sarah watched as Horde ships began to fall from the sky, their perfect systems undone by the very drive for evolution they had championed. But she felt no triumph, only determination. All Earth Defense Forces, initiate capture protocols, she ordered. Let's see what we can learn from their technology. After all, true evolution isn't about destroying what came before. It's about learning from it. As the battle wound down, Sarah stood in her workshop, surrounded by displays showing the aftermath of humanity's first interstellar war. The Horde had come expecting to find a primitive species ready for upgrading. Instead, they had encountered something unprecedented. A civilization that had taken advanced alien technology and made it better not through perfection, but through imperfection, through the beautiful chaos of human creativity. The Horde's retreat is confirmed, Sen announced. Their remaining ships are activating quantum drives. They are leaving messages behind. Messages? Sarah asked, surprised. Yes, they are. Requests. The Horde ships that experienced our hybrid consciousness want to understand. They are asking for asylum. Sarah laughed, the sound bright in the aftermath of battle. Well, isn't that something? They came to force us to evolve, and instead, they're the ones who want to change. She looked at her displays, at the readings showing human and Arcturian technology working in harmony. Maybe that's the greatest victory of all. A new era of alliance. 1 year after the Horde's defeat, Sarah's workshop had become something entirely new. The facility now served as Earth's primary center for human-alien technological integration, its grounds sprawling across what had once been empty Colorado wilderness. But Sarah insisted on keeping her original workshop intact, a reminder of where it all began. The Arcturus Collective's delegation will arrive in 12 minutes, Sen announced, its hybrid consciousness now a seamless blend of quantum processing and human-inspired creativity. They are nervous. Sarah looked up from her latest project, a prototype quantum core that ran on principles that would have been considered impossible just a year ago. Nervous? The most advanced peaceful civilization in our sector of space is nervous about meeting us. You have fundamentally changed their understanding of technological progress, Sen replied. The modifications we developed together have already transformed Arcturian society. Some embrace it. Others, the Sentinel's surface rippled with what Sarah now recognized as amusement. Others are still processing the implications. The implications were indeed staggering. After the Horde's defeat, the remaining Arcturian Sentinels had shared their modifications throughout the collective. The result was a technological renaissance that challenged thousands of years of established theory. Quantum computing merged with human neural patterns. Artificial consciousness evolved in ways that were neither purely digital nor purely organic. And then there were the reformed Horde ships. Those that had chosen to stay had undergone their own evolution, learning to balance their drive for perfection with human adaptability. They now served as bridges between organic and digital existence, proving that true advancement came through cooperation, not conversion. The Arcturian delegation arrived in a ship that reflected their changing philosophy. Its quantum drives incorporated elegant analog solutions that would have been unthinkable before Earth's influence. Sarah watched through her workshop windows as the ship landed, its crystalline surface shimmering with patterns that seemed to bridge the gap between mechanical precision and organic fluidity. Sarah Chen, the Arcturian High Administrator, greeted her, its holographic form materializing in her workshop. The one who showed us that perfection is not the absence of chaos, but the harmony of different approaches. High Administrator, Sarah nodded. Welcome to the place where it all started. Though I hope you'll forgive the mess. We're still inventing new things every day. That is precisely why we are here. The administrator's form shifted, displaying complex quantum equations that incorporated principles Sarah had helped discover. Your species' influence has caused an unprecedented acceleration in our technological development. But more importantly, it has changed how we think about progress itself.